Hello there. I don't know if I can see it properly. Let's assume yes. Hello there. Welcome to Indiana Jones's F1 section once again. Still keep a cheap budget. I don't have any viewers. Let's start the F1 prediction today with an announcement that has been done yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Carlos Sainz renewing with Ferrari. Ferrari is closing up their lineup for 2023 and 24, where both Leclerc and him will end up the contract. So Ferrari is complete. What is the situation with the other teams? So I made a small chart here with the contracts that are remaining for the other drivers, right? And let me get you closer with the chip effect. As you can see here, we have Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. Hamilton has the contract until 2023, which most likely he will complete. Well, it says George, but it's George. Russell has a multi-annual contract, so well, let's say he will stay there until 2023 at least, but he is the long-time bet for Mercedes, so he will stay there for longer, I suspect. Verstappen signed the contract until 2028, which is the longest contract ever signed in F1, and doesn't look like it's gonna leave Red Bull in a long time. Perez, on the other hand, ends the contract this year. But let's face it, most probably he will renew the contract with Red Bull this year. There is nobody else that can take that seat right now. I mean, Gasly could be an option. However, we all know that not Horner, not Helmut Marko like Pierre Gasly. So the only option would be Yuki Tsunoda, but we know Tsunoda is not gonna go to Red Bull at all. So most probably Perez will renew for 1 or 2 years more, especially because he's not doing it that bad this year. We already spoke about Ferrari. Alonso has a contract for this year. However, he has manifested that he wants to stay in F1 for a couple of years more at least. And Alpine looks like it's gonna be the only option available for him. I mean, Red Bull very unlikely are gonna hire Alonso to be with Max Verstappen. And Ocon has a multi-annual contract, so let's assume that Alpine is gonna be betting for Ocon for years to come for now. Norris already renewed the contract, so he's gonna stay there. Ricciardo has the contract until 2023, but let's see if he can get to that, because his performance last year was really poor, and this year he has to beat Norris if he wants to have a chance of continuing in McLaren, either this year or for next year and so on. In AlphaTauri, we have Gasly and Tsunoda. Will both of them end the contract this year? And I think that Gasly will be aiming to leave AlphaTauri, perhaps, if Red Bull do not promote him. I mean, if he wants to be a world champion or something, he really needs to leave that environment, because Red Bull only has one driver right now, which is Max Verstappen. And Gasly will not be in their plans. So despite he has a decent car, it's not a winning car and will never be a winning car. So if he wants to, this is a chance to leave. His contract is expiring. I'm gonna guess that Red Bull will give him a contract, but he should really aim to go to another team. If he could get into Alpine or I don't know, maybe Hamilton retires unexpectedly. Who knows? And then we go to the other back side of the grid, where everything is more unpredictable. Like Sebastian Vettel has the contract for several years. They don't specify until when, so let's assume that he has the contract for this year, next year. All depends on his mood. Is he ready to continue? Does he want to continue? Maybe he's tired, I don't know. Lance Stroll has a contract until this year, but everybody knows that he's gonna stay there because he is the son of the owner. So he will stay in Aston Martin, even though he's not confirmed yet, but he will be confirmed 100%. Bottas has a contract for several years, and so I think it's gonna be like a Kimi situation. He will stay there for several years, 2024 probably, and he's doing it quite well. So yeah, and Guang Yu Zhou, it's an Alpine driver. He's there as a rookie year, and he's not doing it that bad. He's actually doing it quite well. So I think he most probably will continue in Alfa Romeo for another year at least. And in Haas, we have Kevin Magnussen with a contract for this year and probably next year. And he will stay there. I mean, Mick Schumacher ends the contract this year, and if he wants to renew with Haas, he has to perform. I mean, there are expectations around him. He is a former F2 champion. He needs to perform. He's a second-year driver up until now in F3 and F2, so this should be the year where, in theory, Mick Schumacher should show his capability, especially because this year they don't have that bad car, like they are not at the back of the grid. So most probably, I think they will renew Mick Schumacher for another year if he doesn't find any other place, like for example if Alfa Romeo decides to get rid of Guang Yu Zhou and or Zhou Guang Yu and get Mick Schumacher for a better seat. I don't know. I really don't think that will happen. I think Mick will stay there for another year. And then we go to Williams, where both of the drivers end the contract this year. I think Albon's situation will depend a lot on, for example, Pierre Gasly. If Gasly leaves Alpha Tauri, most probably Alexander Albon will go back to Alpha Tauri. That's what I think. I mean, why would Red Bull waste Albon in a back of the grid car when they can have it fighting for points in the mid-pack car? And Latifi, I mean, there's a lot of rumors going around that Williams might replace him before the end of the year with Nick De Vries, for example. Could happen. I think Latifi will not be renewed for another year. His performance was having quite poor, and the money that he brings with Sofina, maybe it's not that needed anymore when you can have other drivers that might come from F2 or like Nick De Vries from Formula E. So yeah, I think very little changes for next year in the grid. Most probably Yuki Tsunoda will be renewed because he has a contract extension with AlphaTauri and the Honda's support to be there, so most probably he will stay there, and most probably everybody is gonna stay where they are except for perhaps Latifi, Albon, Gasly, and yeah, basically those. Let's see what happens if the market unlocks. However, it looks like the big change for the market would happen in 2023, where many drivers actually finish the contract. And that explained. Let me put the camera again and my sexy lady there. So let me do this. I'm getting more professional. Yeah, there you go. So this weekend we have the Emilia Romagna, whatever they call it, Imola for everybody, okay? So they have the Imola Grand Prix for this weekend, which is gonna be happening in 6 hours more or less. Actually less. It should be 4 hours maybe. Anyway, you will see this video later. What can we say about this racetrack? I mean, it has been changed many times. It's kind of a mid thing, like it's medium for everything. There's not high speed, like you have some high speed areas, which is somewhere here. These corners over here. Is it? Yes, it is. this corner over here actually. You have other areas of the racetrack which are high speed, which is all the way here from the start finish line, which there was a chicane here that they removed to put the DRS zone because it's kind of a small racetrack. It's 4.9 kilometers. The good thing is that this racetrack is being used all year long, all the time, so there is rubber on the racetrack. What does it mean? That there will be grip, or there will not be grip changes all the weekend, of course, a little bit, but not that much as, for example, Bahrain or Albert Park, the last Grand Prix. What tire choices do we have? We have the soft, we have the medium, and we have the hard. And I think it's gonna be a 1 or 2 stop because it's not a very aggressive racetrack, and I mean it's a very standard racetrack. What can we say? There's only one overtaking point, which is at the end of the start-finish line, straight line. The rest of the racetrack is kind of like a stop and go, right? There's only one high-speed corner and very little chances of overtaking. It's kind of narrow, so it's gonna rain today, but it's expected to have sunny days, which means the grid positions are gonna change very little from what we have known until now. Usually, the first race in Europe is known to be like the start of the season, where everybody is gonna be putting some new stuff on the car. However, I think the grid positions are gonna change very little. This is why I would put that pole position. I don't know if you can see this. Yes, you can. I will put the grid positions to be like this. There is a sprint race, let's not forget. They will be changing the point system for the sprint race. Now we will have 8 people pointing, or scoring points, sorry. And people are not gonna risk a lot, which is one of the advantages, for example, for aggressive drivers like Max Verstappen. That's why I put the pole position for the Sunday. Therefore, the winner of the sprint race on Saturday is gonna be Mr. Max Verstappen. He is the driver that likes to risk stuff. And the Red Bull is a fast car on the straights and has a good aero package. So in this racetrack, I think Red Bull is going to be kind of strong. However, in the race distance, I think Ferrari are going to be on top once again. Leclerc is showing to be on form this year. So I think the race winner is going to be Charles Leclerc. Ferrari is the dominant car right now, and I think are gonna be staying like that, if not for the whole season, for most of the season. It's kind of complete car and it goes well everywhere. So I think Charles Leclerc will continue to win. I think Max Verstappen is gonna be second, and Carlos Sainz, to celebrate his new contract, is gonna come third. What comes after that? Well, I put Mr. Hamilton. Mercedes is expected to bring some new stuff to this race to kind of solve the issues that they have. I don't think they're gonna solve them. I don't think they're gonna be very close to the top 2 teams. However, I think they are gonna give a step forward, as most of the teams are gonna give, by the way. And I think Hamilton is gonna beat Perez. I always write, I mean, I like to mix it. I don't want to say that all the qualification is going to be depending on both teams winning all the time, right? So I think Mercedes is going to get a little bit closer. That's why Hamilton will beat Perez. And Russell will come 6th, despite Russell beating Hamilton. And it's second on the championship by surprise, huh? Who would have said? And then I think what Alpine showed in Australia was not a chance, or I think it's gonna be like a let's say top 10 positions finishing team, and I think Alonso will come 7th with his knowledge of the racetrack and his aggressiveness. Like I said, it's a difficult racetrack to overtake. So Alonso is usually very good in those kind of racetracks, so I think he's gonna be there. And then I think McLaren looks like made finally a step forward, and they solved the issue with the braking temperatures. So I think they will finish in the top 10 by. So I put Norris and Ricciardo 8th and 9th, and 10th I could have put Ocon, for example. However, I put Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly usually has good qualifyings in this racetrack. So I think Gasly is gonna come 10th if he doesn't DNF the race. I would have put it more on top. I mean, I think from 7th to 10th it's gonna be kind of like a closed battle between the Alpines, the McLarens, maybe the Alpha Tauri of Gasly. I don't know, Tsunoda doesn't really do much. Maybe Ocon will be there, the Alfa Romeos might be there. But yeah, why I didn't put, for example, the Haas? So, well, if you check Albert Park, for example, the Haas did not really work that well during the weekend. And I think this racetrack is kind of similar to that one, so I don't think Haas is gonna be doing a lot. Let's also say that Haas is one of the, let's say, least rich teams on the grid. So as the season goes on, Haas and also Alfa Romeo will start going backwards on the grid, where powerful teams like McLaren, Alpine will start to advance into where they should be in theory. Money puts people on their place, huh? So yeah, I think this is gonna be it. It's not a place where you usually have a lot of safety cars and there's rain, like was it last year? Yeah. So I think this is gonna be the race, especially for a sunny race. So let's see.